This is the Shiba Inu 1 month overview reading for the month of May 2024. That's Shib coin. It's currently April 29, 2024, 9:47 p.m. Eastern time. God, we're recording this so behind schedule, it's crazy. Shib coin at the time of this reading is 0.0000242. That's USD. And the shuffle video for the May Shib coin reading was created on March 9, 2024 at 6:51 p.m. Eastern time. That's a video playing in the lower left corner. So there's an important resistance level on a 1-year chart scale highlighted here in May. We do some like flattening out around that resistance. But there's also there's a pretty notable fake out in here, like an intentional fake out or shake out of some kind that takes place on like a 1-year chart scale here. And there's some really mixed behavior going on here. We're going to get into it in more detail in just a moment. Behavior around the highest high for the month. We have a decline off of the high offering opportunity to open up a long position. Interesting. So there's also a correlation there. Matter of fact, there's no correlation there to the double card. So the decline off of the high indicating an opportunity to open up a long position. What that infers is that we're going to see the high more than once, at least one more time. And sometimes it's a higher high each time. Behavior around the lowest low. We have sideways rotation along key support on a 1-year chart scale. We rise to meet the nearest key resistance and then fall back down and continue rotating sideways along that key support level. And usually you'll see the low more than once when you see this type of sideways rotation as a low significator. Now we're going to get into the timing of the highest highs and the lowest lows, as well as all of the chart behavior by the day in between. But before we do that, I just want to make sure everybody's aware. The whole purpose of the channel is to transmute some of the competitive energy of the stock market into goodwill. We do that by following the rule of karma for the channel. You go to the resources tab of our website, Tarot for Traders, and 5% of the profits from every profitable trade utilizing this information should be donated forward to one of these charities, or pick a charity of your choosing as long as you're paying 5% forward, and then 5% should be sent back to the channel through one of these links. If you're international, you can use Wise or you can use YouTube tips, and that leaves you at 90%. Make sure to spend that 90% out of love. As long as you follow those rules, you follow the rule of karma for the channel, the universe considers you an angel investor. It's going to send it back to you tenfold for following through. Blessings to all my angel investors. Let's get back into it. All right, so on the first, we have a really notable trade opportunity here that's really going to stand out when we look back at May. It'll stand out on like a multi-day scale. We'll get into more detail about that as we progress into the paid version of the reading, but there's a lot of price change on the first and a notable opportunity. There's a peak towards the end of the day. Somebody's speaking in whatever they're speaking about, or whoever it is that's speaking, it impacts Shib coin somehow. What they're speaking on should not be relied upon or trusted. There's a sideways rotation that starts somewhere around the second, and big move off of that sideways rotation, taking us into a key resistance level on the third where we flatten out. And most likely what we have is the highest high here on the third, or highest high thus far at least on the third. I think it's probably highest high, and then we decline from that price level on the third into the fourth, but then out of that decline from the bottom of the range all the way to the top of the range, we most likely revisit that high again, either there on the fourth or on the fifth. On the fifth, we have a sideways S formation within a channel. There's a decline early in the day and a peak at the end of the day with a trade opportunity we'll talk about in more detail in the paid version. On the 6th, another prominent peak on a 1-month scale with a failed attempt to break through key resistance and a decline through key support on a multi-day scale. Looks like the decline continues into the 7th, so I'm not so sure that this cross-reading congruency will be timed right there on the 7th. There could be a high there, but I think it probably was already passed. In any case, we have more decline on the 7th and a trough at the end of the day, a higher trough in the beginning of the day on the 8th in the midst of a U-shaped dip. On the 9th, we have a near overbought crest that we sell off from through multiple support levels with a trade opportunity towards the end of the day. On the 10th, we have a prominent move higher on a multi-day scale followed by a full retracement back down, and there's a double cross-reading congruency there. There's some sort of really relevant chart behavior going on there. It might be that we see the high again. It's most likely that we see the high again. I mean, we probably see it multiple times here. If it's not becoming a higher one each time, it's the same high, and that's what that Princess of Cups in the high significator indicates. So we go from like this high. There's a lot of trade opportunity here around the 9th, 10th. We go prominent high from out of a trough to a peak, and then back to a trough at the end of the day, and then it looks like we do it again on the 11th. Another big move to the upside through key resistance on a multi-day scale, followed by a full retracement back down through that same price level. There's a high there, a possibility of a highest high there on the 11th, 12th. So if we don't have a highest high here on the 3rd, 4th, then very, very likely the highest high will be here on the 11th, 12th, if they're not all the same high. It's a brief peak that's easily missed, followed by a decline through multiple support levels on the 12th. On the 13th, an overbought crest that we sell off from through multiple support levels, and then that turns into volatility on the 14th. And in that period of volatility, there's a sharp drop that'll stand out on a multi-day scale, or it'll stand out in that period of volatility, I should say. There's a trade opportunity, there's a prominent peak on a 1-month scale, and there's a significant drop at the end of the day on the 14th. On the 15th, there's possibility of another highest high. We have a decline from a prominent peak there that returns to like a rally towards the end of the day. Day trade opportunity there as well. Before we go any further, let's take a look and see how we did thus far for April. There's only 1 day left. We have a highest high here on the first. I have it for the 1st, 2nd, and then again on the 4th, 5th. So if you take this one out, that's pretty solid. And then we have more prominent peaks around the 6th, 7th, and then possibly another highest high on the 11th. It looks like that didn't pan out as expected, but we were close. There was another highest high here between, I guess you could say on the 10th, so we missed it by a day. This was pretty tricky on the 12th. We have a significant move, but then there's this big move out of it. That's that wick at the bottom. That's that adjustment card out of oversold territory. And then we go into a notable low on a multi-day scale there with the death card there on the 13th. I don't have it indicated as the lowest low. I have the 16th indicated as the lowest low, which was close. I mean, if you take out the intraday, it's pretty close. Actually, there was a lowest low there on the 23rd, 24th as well. Looks like we're a little late on that. Not my best work, guys. I apologize. Pretty tricky though when you got this like back and forth stuff going on. But in the June readings, you'll notice that the June outline, the June spread is going to look different for the monthlies. For anything that's crypto related, I'm modifying the spread. I think I figured out what the issue is and why we're finding more errors in the crypto than we are by far in the stock reading. So we'll look into that in more detail. So it looks like we got the highs right, and then we came back to highest high around the 27th, 28th. Looks like we were late on that. We got the overall pattern, but this was pretty off. I would give I wouldn't consider this a very successful reading, in my opinion. And it happens sometimes. We leave this stuff up, guys, because it's important for you to see we're not right all the time. With that said, we still would have had some pretty solid trades in here. So on the 4th, 5th, open up a short position there, and we would have returned back to that resistance, that Ace of Swords resistance, by the 7th. I have it for the 6th. So pretty close, though. Pretty close. We actually did come back to it there on the 6th with the candlestick. Or with the wick of the candlestick, so that worked out pretty well. It wasn't the best, like the most profitable trade, but it was a profitable trade. Matter of fact, I probably would advise there on the 5th to open up a short for like a multi-day, where you would have closed out of it maybe on the 9th or the 10th, maybe. Let's see. That wouldn't have worked out so well. However, we would have said if that didn't work, wait until the 13th or the 15th. 13th would have worked out pretty well. Probably would have said to wait till the 15th over the 13th, and that would have worked out pretty well too. So a lot of time when I do shorts, I'll have a backup, so that's pretty solid. Hopefully people stuck that out. When I opened up a short position, or excuse me, a partial long position on the 26th. So technically you could have made money the next day, but it would have been really, really tricky to do so. And then we had this big move to the upside that we were expecting on the 27th, didn't pan out. One of my worst readings in a really long time, actually. But with that said, if you're in a long position and we've gone down lower, I would probably just add more to it, because we've got this move to the upside here taking place. All right, so on the 16th, interesting, guys, we go from like a highest high on the 15th to a possible lowest low there on the 16th. This has got to be where the low is. This has got to be where the low is right here around the 16th, 17th. At least one of them. And the reason why I say is we've got this devil card correlation in yellow, which is also correlating to the low here in yellow. So the fake out is to the downside. Probably makes it look, in a period of sideways rotation, there's a sharp drop, and that sharp drop probably makes it look like we're going lower. A lot of price change on the 17th. Yeah, to the upside and a day trade opportunity there. I'll talk about it in more detail on the paid version. Period of volatility on the 18th that ends with a fast sudden move higher, taking us into a prominent peak towards the cusp of the 18th, or more likely in the morning on the 19th. We have a rally along a diagonal trend line on the 19th, breaking through horizontal resistance, meet another resistance before pulling back to somewhere between those two price levels. And then we've got the Princess of Swords and possibly another lowest low here on the 20th. What we'll do is we'll decline from a key resistance. There'll be a fake, yeah, that's probably another low. We've got the yellow correlation there as well. So we probably come back, that's that second low, right? We rise and then we come back down, right? So the lowest low there, and we probably decline from a resistance there and return back to it by the beginning of the day on the 22nd. A lot of price change to the upside from that low to a high there early in the day on the 22nd. Halting of a bullish trend marked by a decline through key support on a multi-day scale there, somewhere between the end of the day on the 22nd and the 23rd. There's a prominent peak on the cusp of the 23rd, 24th. We successfully find support on the 24th, probably towards the end of the day at a lowest low. And if there's a lower low than these, if any of the lowest lows are going to be lower than the others, it'll be, these two will be lowest lows, like the same price level problem. That doesn't look like a lowest low. It's just a prominent trough, and we should have a really big move to the upside out of it, reaching for a distant resistance there on the 25th. Rally continues into the 26th, but turns over there on the 26th and continues declining into the 27th. A lot of movement to the downside there on the 27th, especially towards the end of the day. A trade opportunity as well. And then there's an important support level on a multi-day scale highlighted on the 28th that we've met many times before and failed to break through. We decline from that resistance level, an important resistance level that we failed to break through many times before, into the 29th, and then that decline ends on the 29th with a fast sudden move higher, and then a sideways fluctuating rally on the 30th that precedes a decline. Looks like the decline probably really takes place on the 31st, and we're bound by a range on the 31st on a 1 month scale. We could be back to like near highs there at the end of. It's possible. There's a really big move there. It's possible, but it's probably just a prominent trough, and we're bound by a range there. The sneak preview for June, we have a decline through multiple support levels. Really big move towards the end of the month of June, and you can see we've got a lowest low for June for Shibcoin in June here. So that's Shibcoin for May 2024. Let me know what you think by hitting that like button. As always, make sure to follow that rule of karma. You know where to go. You know what to do. Blessings to all my angel investors. I'll see you guys on the next one. Stay tuned. If you got the paid version, we're going to get into the best trades momentarily.